DragonFeather, and I'm going to be talking about Christian Wicca. What it is, basically, different ways people practice Christian Wicca, and my opinion on it. So first and foremost, the way that people use the god and the goddess aspect of Christian Wicca is, the first part is they use the goddess as Mary and the god as Jesus. Now, if you think about it, that does make sense, because our goddess, for Wicca, the goddess gives birth to the god, Mary gave birth to Jesus. And so that's one of many ways that Christian Wiccans use their pantheon kind of thing. Another thing is, and that way they just work with those two, like god and goddess, I guess you could say. So, excuse me, instead of working with other religions, you know. Another way is they have God, like, you know how you say, oh my god, like God from the religion, and you could have another goddess, like say Isis or Aphrodite or Hecate as their patron goddess, and they would have those two working together. Like another one, the Hebrewic pantheon, which is technically where Jesus came from, a lot of people like to say, but I'm not going to get too much into that because that's for a different video. Anyway, so the practicing ways is because some of them, instead of living by the Wiccan Rede, they'll live by the Bible. That will be their religious text, or they live through both. They will, you know, not harm anyone, because that's what the Wiccan Rede says, and they don't, like, it's really hard to explain. And then another thing is, with symbolism, they might not use a pentacle, they might use the cross instead. Like if you see on my altar how I have my pentacle right there, they would have a cross instead. They would have statues of archangels, maybe. They might work with angels a lot. That's another really prominent thing about Christian Wicca. Now, Christianity is a monotheistic religion, but there is such thing as the Holy Spirit in this religion. And they refer to the Holy Spirit as we refer to just spirit. And they would use the elements. They're probably very into nature, because Wicca is a nature religion, nature-based religion, and they would do practices outside in nature, like they do now, and they might, okay, there's the ones that are really witchcrafty and the ones that aren't witchcrafty, because I believe somewhere in the Bible, I have not read it front to back, but somewhere in the Bible it says that witchcraft is wrong. And for those people who follow the Bible, use the Bible, might not be witchcrafts. Witches fail. They might not be witches, they might just be Wiccans. But for the people who don't use the Bible, who just use the Christian gods, the Christian principles, or the Ten Commandments, they would take that into Wicca, and they would be witchcrafty, but they would use, like, Jesus and God in their practice. My views on this, I really don't think it's bad. If you want to do it, you want to do it. If I have any Christian Wiccans who watch my channel, kudos to you for having the guts to be a Christian Wiccan, because not only is Wicca ridiculed in the Christian faith most of the time, but Christian Wicca is ridiculed in the pagan community. So I'm proud of you, and you shouldn't really care what anyone else says as long as you're happy. So, with that being said, I will move on to how people view it. Some people view it as, like, it's wrong, it doesn't make sense, how could that be possible? And it's your spirituality. Like I said, if you take principle, like, I don't understand how it's any different from a Wiccan taking in Buddhist principles. It's just a Wiccan taking in Christian principles. I mean, it's really not a big deal, guys. It's really not. It's just the way that people want to do it. And if that's how they want to do it, sure. Just because someone is a Christian Wiccan doesn't mean I'm gonna shun them. I'll be like, yeah, sure, you can work with me. But, like, you know, a while back I made a video thinking that Jesus is my patron god. But it's only because, I mean, like, yeah, I was I was raised in a Mormon household. But I mean, it honestly, at that point, I wasn't necessarily ready to let go of that yet. And I know that might seem confusing for some of you guys, because you might be like, oh, I hated the way my parents were like that, but still, the way that you were brought up, it's hard to forget those principles. It's hard to forget that way of life that you once had. So, I'm over that now. I still don't know what my patron god is, who it is, I don't. I would like to know, but I have lots of work to do on that. But I do know my matron goddess, and that is Isis. So, really, it doesn't matter. If there's any Christian Wiccans who do watch me, like I said, feel free to leave a comment below describing on how you practice if that's comfortable with you. Try and help people understand. Please no hate comments. Yeah, that's my view on Christian Wicca and a little bit about what it is. And until next time, blessed be, and bye.